All right, what's up, my brothers? In this video, we're going to be reacting to a video with the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Some people would say Sean Connery, one of the best Bonds ever. And he's giving a interview here back in the day to Barbara Walters. Now, this is a example of conventional, classic type of masculinity. So I want to share this with you and I add some commentary to it. Here we go.
Okay, you did an interview in which you said, not the worst thing to slap a woman now and then. As I remember, you said you don't do it with a clenched fist, it's better to do it with an open hand. Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I didn't love that.
I haven't changed my opinion.
You haven't?
No, not at all.
You think it's good to slap a woman?
No, I don't think it's good.
bad.
I don't think it's that bad. I think that it depends entirely on the circumstances and if it merits it.
Or what would merit it?
Well, if you have tried everything else, and women are pretty good at it, they can't leave it alone. They don't want to have the last word, and you give them the last word, but they're not happy with the last word. They want to say it again and get into a really provocative situation. Then I think it's absolutely right.
To give her a good slap.
Yeah.
What if she gives you a good slap back?
Well, then you get into another area. I mean, then maybe she's getting to like it, and then it becomes something else. I don't know. But seriously, I think that it's the last resort. He's not going to do it because he wants to do it.
Wait till people see this interview. Are you going to get mail?
Might get some female.
Oh man, what an absolute Chad Sean Connery was back in the heyday. Might get some male, might get some female. One of the top comments here says there's two distinct moments where he pulled back and deflected with humor. This man wasn't just masculine, he was also wise, which is why a woman most likely would be okay with this treatment as well. Safety and trust. You know, we live in a very different time today from Sean Connery's era. Like, he was an absolute man's man. Like, I remember as a kid watching movies like James Bond, and he was, I would say, easily one of my favorites, right up there at the top with Daniel Craig. But one of the old school sort of original OG sort of James Bond characters was always Sean Connery. He never really played a bad role, was a great actor, and never really apologized for much. In fact, you can see in this video, he's absolutely unapologetic about his stance and his opinion when it comes to the notion of the slap. It's interesting that this got called out in this interview by Barbara Walters. And again, you know, this is a very old video. I don't know when it was recorded, but judging by her tone saying that he's going to get some mail about this comment about the slap indicates to me there was no text messages, no email, no social media at the time. So we can safely say this is probably 70s, maybe early 80s, if we can pin it around that time frame. And there was a time in history, even in the West, where it was okay to raise a hand if she misbehaved. I remember there was a joke by Bill Burr back when he was a great comic before he totally got cucked. I think it was when he was single. And he said something along the lines of, you know, women just know how to push buttons. Like, they just nag and come at you and until you finally snap, and then you say something like, see you next Thursday, that acronym, C-U-N-T, and you call them that name, and then they absolutely just blow up and lose their mind. Oh, you can't, like, you want to really piss off a woman, call her the C word and watch what she does. I think even in today's day and age, maybe back in Connery's time, but even still today, that's probably worse than raising a hand and doing that. And it's still common in a lot of European countries, especially Eastern European countries, where if you're running into some problems or you have some issues, you put your foot down and you basically state your position. And it's interesting that we've completely moved away from that. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm saying that it's very interesting that in today's day and age that we've completely moved away from the notion that men have authority, they're strong, they're masculine, they have the capability to exact a toll physically if required. But all of that has been stripped away from men. And we wonder why today a lot of women are complaining that men are no longer strong, virtuous. There's an absence of masculine men that they want to enter the frame of and follow and be led by. Whereas back in these days, this is still in the early days of toxic feminism. In an interview like this by the mainstream media, you know, she makes the point saying, well, you're probably going to get some mail on this one. And he just makes a joke, knowing full well he's going to get female interest on the topic because he's exerting authority. What do women like? Strong, masculine, virtuous, competent men that don't take crap, that have a backbone. This is what Connery was exemplifying. I'm not saying that we need to reintroduce backhand here and there when it comes to managing the long-term relationship. But there's no question that Connery was a Chad, and he was respected by women and men, and it had no effect. Like, that soundbite there didn't have any effect on him playing roles in films. He worked in the movie industry for a long time after that was recorded. He was married for a long time to his wife, and as far as I'm aware, she hasn't expressed, or there's no recording of her expressing any grievance about that interview and about him maybe having to raise his hand or his voice if she, gets in his face. And that was an interesting time, man. There was a consequence for bad behavior. There was a consequence for disrespecting the guy, for getting in his face, for pushing back where, in a place and time where he might say no, or I'm not having it, or my word is the final word, for example. I wanted to share this video with you because it's unconventional, and he's an authoritative, interesting historical figure, if I can put it that way, when it comes to movies and films. And I don't think there's a lot of people that would argue this point with him, especially at that time. Walters tried to argue with him at that time. But I want to hear what you guys have to think. Leave a comment below, pin to the top comment, bunch of useful links you should definitely check out. Let me know what you think of that video clip. Is there anything else you'd like to have me look at? So shoot me an email. See you guys later. Peace out.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.